The most common misconceptions Nigerians have about their fundamental human rights is the idea that these rights do not even exist at all.
It is a criminal offense to torture a citizen, right? Now, if a citizen successfully prosecutes a police officer who he alleges, had breached his right or torture him, right, that officer stands to be in prison for a term of up to 25 years.
As a matter of fact, if you have had encounters with policemen, you're trying to quote the law. You are aggravating the issue. You're calling trouble for yourself. So normally, the average Nigerian, when they are faced with torture, when they are faced with police harassment, they are thinking, which superior police officer can I call? Which lawyer can I call? How much can I give them to let me go?
I remember going to court, Ikeja, and they had brought this man in front of the judge, and his two legs were heavily bandaged. Yellow liquid seeping out of his wounds, and the judge just could not have it. She called the security person that brought him in. Why is this man here? He could barely stand, actually. And then she wrote a note that he should be taken to a better hospital. Everyone, welcome to Law Unscripted with Citizens Gavel. I am Ihina Mary A. Carter, and today we're having a very amazing topic, and that is fundamental human rights, justice, and the fight against torture in Nigeria. I have two beautiful and intellectually sound lawyers in the house. Please let's make welcome Barrister Sylvester Agih, a senior legal analyst for Citizens Gavel.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Mary, for having me. Super happy to be here.
Thank you so much. You look dashing today, I must say.
Thank you.
All right. So with Barrister Sylvester, we have Barrister Rita Odafe. She's the lead sexual gender-based violence for Citizens Gavel. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you, Mary, for the warm welcome.
Thank
Host
you.
with the most for a reason.
Yeah.
Pleasant greetings, everyone. Thank you, Gavel, for the platform.
And thank you so much. So Barrister Sylvester, we'll start with you.
Right.
What are fundamental human rights?
So, fundamental human rights are inalienable and inherent rights that belong to citizens by virtue of the fact that they are human beings. In other words, these rights are not given nor earned, they are not privileged, but they belong to citizens by the mere fact that they are human beings. Now, these rights are called fundamental human rights because they are contained in our Constitution and they are ranked over and above other rights as you get to here with time.
Okay, so you talked about the fact that these rights are rights because we are human beings, right? So tell us, what misconceptions do Nigerians have about their fundamental human rights?
The most common misconceptions Nigerians have about their fundamental human rights is the idea that these rights do not even exist at all. And this ideology is birthed from the constant abuse of power of these police officers. We've had too many cases of trigger-happy police officers that shoot Nigerian citizens because these citizens are challenging the legality of an arrest or a search. We've had instances of police officers checking cars for roadworthiness when it is clear that this is the role of the FRSC, except, of course, there is an allegation of a stolen vehicle. We've had instances of policemen torturing accused persons to get fake confessional statements. And so these had happened repeatedly, and it is safe to say that these incidents accumulated into the NSAS protest of 2020. We are thankful for the intervention of the ECOWAS court that ordered that the killings of the protesters were unlawful and also ordered compensation to the tune of millions for the survivors of the NSAS protest. But this is a call for the policemen to do better because people believe I would rather say I have no rights than deceive myself that I have rights. So it takes a lot of tact. It takes a lot of emotional intelligence. It takes a basic knowledge of the law to be able to insist on your rights. And of course, in all your gettings, get a lawyer because lawyers also tell accused persons this is what you are entitled to in this situation.
All right. Thank you so much, Barrister Rita. She talked about the NSAS, and I must say that period was characterized with a lot of torture stories.
Yeah.
Barrister Sylvester, we have an Anti-Torture Act, 2017.
Yeah.
How effective is that act? What does he do? Because it has been implemented, it's going on 8 years now. Talk about the Anti-Torture Act, please. Thank you.
Very well. So one of the measures that the government, decide to put in place, following reports of human rights abuses, as well as other kinds of ill treatment of citizens by law enforcement agencies, is the Anti-Torture Act of 2017, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And the essence of that act is actually to criminalize torture, firstly, and then to ensure that law enforcement agencies, pay heed to the fundamental rights of citizens in the course of investigation or interrogating citizens. So the act, like you said, has been ongoing for 8 years now. The slight issue that I have with that act is that it appears to be like, a dead,
Exactly.
a dead, I don't know what to call it. Exactly, enactment, right?
Thank you.
Why I say so is because for the 8 years that it has been in existence, you will not find a single case where a police officer has been tried, that's prosecuted, whether found guilty or not, and sentenced under the act.
Exactly.
And that is the issue. So the question is that what's the essence of having that act if it is not being implemented, right? Okay.
I'll just want to add,
Yes,
to buttress Barrister Sylvester's point. When Nigerian citizens are faced with torture, they are not trying to quote any law. In fact, as a matter of fact, if you have had encounters with policemen, you are trying to quote a law. You are aggravating the issue. You are calling trouble for yourself. So normally, the average Nigerian, when they are faced with, torture, when they are faced with police harassment, they are thinking, which superior police officer can I call? Which lawyer can I call?
Exactly.
How much can I give them to let me go? So nobody is quoting any law. That is one of the reasons why this Anti-Torture Act, nobody even knows about it, because you are calling trouble for yourself. If you are with a police officer, he's trying to assault you, he's trying to torture you, he's trying to extort you, and you're trying to quote a law.
Okay, so immediately you said that, I think I remember a case we had to deal with in Lagos where this person was remanded in the police station.
Wow.
The judge gave a judgment that it should be remanded in the police station.
Wow.
And I got a message that night that the person was sleeping on his bed.
Wow. Wow. How?
That person had gone to call, is this CP that they call it? Had gone to call the CP, and the CP had called. So when you said they don't look for the law, they look for someone, they look for power.
Yeah.
Yes, someone to call. Does it just state that Anti-Torture Act is ineffective?
So to a large extent, I would say that it is ineffective, not because it does not contain robust, provisions that are meant to check abuses of human rights, not because of that, but because of lack of implementation.
Exactly.
That is basically the issue. So by the time we begin to see implementation of the provisions of that act, I'm telling you, law enforcement agencies will sit up, and then there will be fewer and fewer cases of
torture.
And then, of course, breaches of fundamental human rights of citizens.
Thank you so much. So let's go on to the legal remedies for this. He talked about implementation. What steps can we take legally as citizens and then as an organization?
At this point, I believe it is fair to commend the police force because they have put in place what we call PCRU. That is the Police Complaints Response Unit. The Police Complaints Response Unit. And this unit, as the name implies, is put out there for victims of torture, victims of police extortion, victims of police extortion, to lay their complaints. All they have to do is to find out the name of the police officer, the division he's attached to, and they say, and narrate the story. Oh, this is what happened. He hit me, he beat me, he hung me on a fan to get a confessional statement. And immediately, we've had so many cases of either the extorted amount being refunded, reimbursed, or we've had instances where these police officers guilty of torture are either suspended, and sometimes they take it to the extreme ends of actually terminating their appointment. So I must commend the PCRU. They are doing an amazing and fantastic job. But we need more accountability platforms, much more, to totally eradicate torture as a whole.
So I could add
yes,
a
please.
thing or two to that. So another remedy that citizens have under the Anti-Torture Act in particular is the fact that torture is criminalized, and so it is a criminal offense to torture a citizen, right? Now, if a citizen successfully prosecutes a police officer who he alleges, has breached his right or torture him, right? That officer stands to be in prison for a term of up to 25 years. That is what the law says.
Amazing.
Yes, and that same law also allows the citizen to pursue a civil remedy against the officer. So, for instance, he can pursue a case, and if if that is successful, he'll be entitled to damages. And an award of damages. He could also be entitled to injunction.
Wow,
for
that's
instance,
robust.
If there are further threats, of either torture or detention and all that, he can get that also. And then, of course, there are other administrative remedies such as the National Human Rights Commission. You can lodge a complaint with them. They also investigate, and if they find that the officer in question is culpable or guilty, they could actually file an action against the person at the courts.
That's really robust, I must say. And we just hope that it works or it's implemented. I think that's the problem with Nigeria. If we can call it a problem. It's
not just a problem, but a huge one. Actually.
More publicity.
Of, existing laws.
Exactly.
It's a huge problem.
Let's talk about how responsive the court is to cases of torture and ill treatment. I remember going to court, Ikeja High Court, and they had brought this man in front of the judge, and his two legs were heavily bandaged.
Wow.
Yellow liquid seeping out of his wounds. And the judge just could not have it. Wow. She called the security person that brought him in. Why is this man here? He could barely stand, actually. And then she wrote a note that he should be taken to a better hospital, a general hospital.
Obviously.
So that is 1 out of 1,000 judges in Nigeria. That's a very good example. Yeah. But is there a way the court is supposed to respond when they get this kind of cases, irrespective of the offense on ground? Barrister Sylvester, please.
Thank you very much. So beyond, of course, directing that such a victim, so to speak, or defendant be taken to a better hospital, right? The court also has a duty to consider the statement made by such a person. So, for instance, if it's a confessional statement, the court wants to be careful to note whether that confession was true or not. Because we have false confession, we have true confession. False confession is the type that is coerced out of a person, right? Through torture, of course. So the question is that if that person is looking the way he's looking, could that be as a result of torture? And if it is, how about the statement he or she made before the...
Was it also gotten...
Under duress,
exactly.
Torture and all that. So the court has to ascertain all that. Now, under the Law, Evidence Act in particular, the judge has the power to exclude evidence. And so if the court finds that such a statement is made under duress, the court can exclude it. Also, another mechanism that is in place at the moment is that magistrates are mandated to visit detention centers.
Exactly.
Monthly, right? So across the states of the federation, magistrates are supposed to visit detention centers such as the police stations and all that at least once a month.
Exactly.
Right? Now, if they do this religiously, there is a tendency that we'll begin to see a reduction in cases of torture and all that. Because the question is that, would the magistrate visit us today? If the magistrate visits and sees this person in this state,
won't I get into trouble?
Like that. So they would want to, it will help to restrain the police from, exercising excess power on, suspects. So these are some other things that are available to
So just to buttress
Thank you.
Barrister Sylvester's point, I believe in most courts now, priority is given to criminal cases. So on the cost list, that is on the list of cases assigned to that judge for that day, they take criminal cases first and they really inquire, where are the witnesses? Why is this case taking longer than necessary? If you don't come with your witnesses, I'm going to strike the case out. I witnessed that for myself, but there's always room for improvement. We have very few judges, very few magistrates handling so many cases, and then we don't have enough buildings, so we need more infrastructures. And another thing I would like to add is we need hospitals that specifically cater to prisoners, to detainees. They are treated like dead, like non-existent. It is someone who is alive that would be tried, that would be heard. So there should be hospitals dedicated to look after prisoners, people that are detained. I think we should really look into that.
Thank you so much. I do agree with that. I agree with that a whole lot. Thank you. Now we're going to be talking about the lack of legal representation. Like Kirikiri is housing. Kirikiri is a prison in Lagos, so it's housing.
Everybody knows that.
Everybody knows that. It's housing over 2,000 inmates currently,
Wow.
right? And some of them do not have legal representation. Citizens Gavel make it a job to visit Kirikiri once in 2-3 months, and we meet persons that do not have lawyers. How does this influence how these security personnel treat them?
Are you joking? I want to jump into that question.
Right.
You know, the police officers ensure that accused persons don't have access to lawyers. And why? Because when the lawyer steps in, they beam the lights. Police, you're not supposed to detain this person beyond 48 hours. I can institute a petition against you of fundamental human rights to protect my client. They let people know that these are your rights and this is wrong. A police officer is not supposed to search your phone. He can't search you without a warrant. He has no business checking if your driver's license is intact. So that is why there is a constant, should I say, misunderstanding, some sort of tussle, exactly, between lawyers and police officers, because they know that when the lawyer steps in, they protect the rights of their clients, and there is no room for extortion, there's no room for torture, there's no room to make the accused person pin down a conventional statement that didn't emanate from him. So that is why they always ensure, they scare these accused persons that if you call your lawyer, you are going to sleep here. If you call your lawyer, you will not live here today. So that is why. So please, as an accused person, do well to calmly insist that I would like to talk to my lawyer. I would like my lawyer to be present when I am making this confessional statement.
Thank you
Absolutely.
so much.
And let me add a thing or two to that.
Please.
Now, having a lawyer with you as a suspect has a lot of advantages.
Exactly.
Like she mentioned, if your lawyer is there with you, a police officer will not dare torture you.
Exactly.
Not in any way. The police officer cannot do that. And then beyond that, the fact that you have a lawyer with you means that you will know your rights, because certainly your lawyer would ensure that he tells you what are your rights at the police station level. So let me give you an instance. At the police station, most citizens do not know that they have a right to silence. So are you aware that
I can just sit there and not talk?
You can tell the police that I do not wish to respond.
And you cannot be tortured.
Absolutely. It's your fundamental right. In America, they will tell you, I plead the fifth. It means that
I choose to keep
respond
exactly.
to whatever you are putting
Exactly.
Yes. So we have a similar provision under the Constitution, Section 35 sub 2.
Amazing.
But interestingly, most suspects do not know this, right? They also do not know that they are supposed to be given a written document upon arrest that this is the offense you've committed. This is the nature of the offense. If it's stealing, they put it down, it's stealing. This thing is supposed to be given to you within 24 hours of your arrest. So the nature of the offense, the grounds of the offense, in the language that you understand, must be given to you in writing. Most citizens do not know that. Now, if you have a lawyer by your side, he or she can insist that be done. In fact, I have a matter before the court at the moment. Currently, one of the issues we are canvassing before the court is the fact that our client was not given a copy of the petition that was written against him. And the reason why we decided to make that an issue is because the police officer told our client one thing, that this is what you've committed, and he wrote a statement to that effect. The petition was saying something different. So we decided to challenge that among other reasons. So if you have a lawyer by your side, some of these things would not happen.
Exactly.
All right. So there's something I heard in court. Thank you so much for Barrister Sylvester. That was amazing. There's something I heard in court now, that before they admit an evidence, the evidence must be taken. It's a new law. That the evidence must be taken before the camera. Please speak on that in relation to accountability mechanisms that can be put in place to actually deter officers from actually torturing.
Exactly.
Yes,
now, of course, that is one of the measures that has been put in place by the government. Of course, seeing that there are too many complaints against law enforcement agencies on torture, inhuman treatment, among other things. So, the particular law that deals with that is the Administration of Criminal Justice Act of 2015, and also, of course, the ACJL of the various states of the Federation. And it provides very simply that if an accused offers to make a confessional statement, right? It has to say, yes, I did it. That should be video recorded. In other words, it should be recorded on video so that the court before whom that statement will be presented along with the video recording would see for himself or for herself whether this person was tortured to say what he said in the statement or not. This is very important because, usually if I come today and sit before you and say, oh, I was tortured by the police yesterday. The question is that, what was my evidence?
Exactly. They'll say it's your wife that beat you.
Exactly. Even if I'm showing you wound now, they'll say, what's your evidence that this wound
emanated from the police?
They can even inflict it on your head where you cannot show.
Absolutely. So putting this law in place would help the court to see for itself whether this person. So some of the injuries are not even physical. So you might not even see there is mental torture. So if it's mental, at least from the way the person is either giving his statement, sounding, or even writing, something is wrong. And the court would now caution itself not to use that document. So that's one of the very important reasons why the law requires a video recording of interrogation sessions.
As Barrister Sylvester was talking, I remember a pattern that is common with police officers. If I, as a lawyer, I want to go in and represent my client in police custody, they will not allow me to carry my phone. Exactly. Why?
It's everywhere. Even you are standing there.
What are you hiding? Why won't you allow me take my phone? That means you have things to hide.
Exactly.
So I think this is a reform we should look into. I'm a lawyer. I'm working in my professional capacity. I should be allowed to take in my phone.
Absolutely.
If you are treating the client well, if you are treating him within the ambit of the law, you have nothing to hide. Exactly. You have nothing to fear.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much. Now we're going to dwell on Citizens Gavel.
Talk to me.
Right?
Yes.
I like the
Talk to me.
So Citizens Gavel, how has it helped this particular situation? What has it done? What are the measures it has put in place? Thank you.
All right. Citizens Gavel has done a lot. And this is why I chose to emphasize on this. So, starting with tracking of cases, Citizens Gavel has tracked thousands of cases at the various courts, Lagos, Abuja, and the different states of Nigeria. And how we do this essentially is that when you visit the courts nowadays, you find that on the court list some cases dating back to 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020 are awaiting legal advice.
Wow.
Yes.
Legal advice, an advice that ought to come out in say a week or two.
Will span up to 4 years.
4 years.
Yes.
So when we come across cases like that, we immediately take the necessary details right to the office of the Director of Public Prosecution to ask what is happening. What really is happening.
Yes.
Can you expedite action on this so that this person knows their fate? So we do that, and we've gotten a lot of testimonies around that because so many people have had the opportunity of being released from the prison because of our intervention.
Yes.
For example, there was a case that we had followed up earlier on. The DPP didn't do anything about it, so we decided to file a fundamental right action. And eventually, the court agreed with us. The court agreed that the inmate overstayed even the period of the offense he was alleged to have committed. It was supposed to be 3 years. The inmate spent over 5 years. And the court, in agreeing with us, also awarded a sum of 5 million naira in favor of the inmate. So that is one of the things that Citizens Gavel has done. We also have, of course, we offer legal representation, both at the police station, even in court. In fact, we've become so popular that magistrates even refer cases to us. That's how interesting it has been for us. And then again, we have legal tools, but I will allow.
Okay, so to add to everything Barrister Sylvester has said, one of the major backlashes the judiciary receives is the slow pace of justice.
Yes.
You can initiate a case 2016 and it's still on 2025. And so Citizens Gavel took the liberty to put together a court ranking publication. And this publication primarily tells us the progress reports in terms of the starting and the completion of cases across all 36 states of Nigeria, including the Federal Capital Territory. So we've been publishing it, I think, since 2019, and we get details from the NJC. So we let each state know that, as regards matters of the Federal High Court, this is how you're doing, and this is where you need room for improvement. Then we also have our, there was something, and also Barrister Sylvester made mention of this when he was answering one of your questions. This police station monitoring, it's like an impromptu visit where judges, magistrates, legal representatives pay impromptu visits to police stations. Like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
They check for impunity. They check if everything is done in accordance with the provisions of the law. And if the magistrate notices that someone is unfairly detained, they can order for the immediate release of such person. So those impromptu, unexpected, unannounced visits ensure that torture is eradicated in police stations. And the very last one, we had it this month. I'm very happy to announce that Gavel was the one who coordinated it. It's mandated by the Administration of Criminal Justice Law to pay impromptu visits to police stations. So we hope to do that more frequently.
All right. So there's one thing we've not talked about, and that's Podus AI.
Podus AI, my best friend. We were saving the best for last.
Sylvester, give us the insights. Thank you.
So, I know that so many Nigerians, wish to have legal representation, a lawyer by themselves, because, one of the things you should have the phone number of your doctor.
Exactly.
Very
important.
Very, very important. You can, but let's say you can't afford the services of a lawyer. What do you do? And this is where Podus AI comes in. Podus AI, make I use PT for this one. Podus AI, we will not know. That's it. They like lawyer, but lawyer where they see. However, he did your phone. He did your phone. In fact, he did your WhatsApp, so that you go to chat with them the way. Normally, they chat with your friends. Now, let's say you have a legal issue, like your landlord won't pursue you for house. Just because you vexed and yesterday, ain't gonna come and say, oh yeah,
pack out.
And you can't wonder, but I hear about statutory notice. So this notice, landlord no give me, I ain't the same make I come on. Waiting I'm supposed to visit Podus. Visit Podus.
One time.
Go don't tell you waiting be. Or for example, they talk of torture. Now let's say you go police station, say you go answer question for police, and police go torture you there, make you write waiting you don't supposed to write. You go write and they, as you come back, the next thing to say, okay, I want to report this matter. Who I want to report to? Let's say you want to report to the National Human Rights Commission or the PCRU, like my colleague talked earlier on. You could just go on Podus and say, see, waiting happen at the police station for so place, do so thing for me. And as it happen like this, they torture me, they do this, you go write all your complaint, send them like prompt to Podus AI. Bagam, Podus AI go write petition for you. That petition, all you need to do is now to just print and come out, sign them, carry and go the necessary authority. They go deal with that officer.
Sharp.
I hope say with this little point of mine,
are they
able to convince Muna, not to confuse Muna about Podus. They need to have Podus in your phone as an AI assistant.
All right, and this is where we'll call it a wrap on this particular episode of Law Unscripted with Citizens Gavel. I am the host with the most, Ikinat Mariekata. Thank you so much, Barrister Sylvester and Barrister Rita. Till we meet again, stay produced.